Good morning. I am here to present a discussion that I submitted today for one of my courses. And the course that I'm taking currently is regarding theories of personality. And so basically I had to pick a television character in which I was to evaluate that character and their behavior in the form of neurosis in regard to Karen Horney's theory on personality development, or the theory of, based on her theory of neurosis, or yeah, let's just move on from there. Sorry. Okay, so the television series that I chose was House of Cards, and the TV character is Francis Underwood, also known as Frank. And let me begin. Okay, Francis Underwood is a U.S. congressman that had been promised the White House position of Secretary of State. However, he was passed over and the position was given to someone else. Frank recognized his value in Congress was to be, as he put it, quote, the friction to keep the sludge moving through the pipes, unquote. And now he planned to use his brand of friction to outsmart those who he felt were responsible for keeping him from advancing higher up in the food chain. Frank was a man that thrived off of being in a position of power. In the series, Frank speaks of his beginnings as the son of a peach farmer. He did not speak highly of his father or his accomplishments, but rather he spoke of him in disdain as a timid man that died of a heart attack at the age of 42. Furthermore, Frank considered his life's accomplishments to be a direct reflection of his superiority over all others, including his father. Life was like a game of chess, and Frank believed he had the power to create an environment in which he had full control, no surprises. However, when he realizes that he had underestimated his opponents who were responsible for his not being promoted to the Secretary of State, he felt more determined than ever to manipulate behind the scenes so as to be able to line himself up for the position of Vice President of the United States of America. Frank will use anyone he needs in any way, shape, or form to achieve the aforementioned goal, because people are dispensable in Frank's book. Karen Horney believed there were 10 categories of neurotic needs that neurotics use to overcome their underlying feelings of anxiety. In Frank's case, his character within the framework of the TV series exhibits the following neurotic needs: the need for power, the need to exploit others, the need for recognition and prestige, the need for ambition and personal achievement, the need for self-sufficiency and independence. Frank satisfied the aforementioned neurotic needs by exercising his power of dominance over others. Horney identified this as the neurotic trend of, quote, moving against others, unquote. Neurotics experience an intense form of underlying anxiety that contributes to their reactive nature to their perceived hostile and competitive environment, and Frank believes he is superior over others in his ability to survive and thrive in an environment of this caliber. The feelings of superiority and control that Frank believes he has mastered are but an illusion, for he is not in control, but rather he is reactive and forced to act to prevent his illusion from being shattered, and revealing to himself that his underlying anxiety is caused from his fears of feeling stupid, weak, or vulnerable in the face of others. Frank needs to feed off of others who believe he is of superior intelligence, and for those who do not willingly provide his next feeding, he reacts by becoming aggressive so as to instill fear to bring them into subjection to his authority. What Frank does not realize is that he has bought into the definition of success that Western society deems to be valued, which is the ability to be free by means of attaining a social position of power, when in reality Frank is a slave to the system that will eat him up and discard him the minute he lets his guard down. In childhood, Frank perceived his father to be a weak and timid man. It is possible that Frank's assessment of his father's character may have been a direct result of his father's over-permissiveness toward Frank as a child. According to Horney, children need structure and discipline in their environment in order to feel safety and satisfaction, so as to enable them to grow towards that which we call self-actualization. It is my educated opinion that Frank's father did not meet his needs for safety and satisfaction. Therefore, he developed feelings of hostility toward his father at a young age, which led to his neurotic need to create an illusion of safety as an adult by means of seeking power and control over others. I would like to touch upon what I think might have been the role of Frank's mother within the family unit, even though Frank does not mention her in the TV series. I think that Frank's mom may have been the neurotic, dominant type that wielded power over his father. Therefore, this may have been how he came to perceive his father as timid and weak, unable to protect himself from the wrath of his mother. Further support of my assessment. Oh, did I word that wrong? Therefore, he may have been this may have been how he came to perceive his father as timid and weak, and therefore unable to protect him from the wrath of his mother. Okay. Further support of my assessment can be demonstrated in Frank's need to feel he does not need a woman's affection in his life. Frank chose a marriage partner who would support him in all his endeavors willingly and without question, including his want for other female sexual partners. However, further into the series, Frank's wife and his lover take actions on their behalf that reflect an independent spirit, and this threatens Frank's sense of being in control. Therefore, he becomes reactive toward the very women whom he believed he did not need affection from to feel whole. It is my educated opinion that Frank's mom withheld her affections in times when she perceived her son to be weak in a man's world. Therefore, Frank may have also developed hostility toward his mother as a child, and as a result, he felt the need to be an authority over the women in his life. For the same reason, his mother most likely felt the need to be an authority over his father, due to her childhood experiences with the male role figure in her life or lack thereof. Horney believed that we were not really free in this life because to be free was dependent on one's genetics, social position, and the competitiveness of others. However, it was Horney's life's experiences that contributed to the lens in which she perceived her world view. Through. Horney herself admittedly had neurotic needs based on her feelings of underlying anxieties that motivated her to seek relief by means of taking on the dominating role within her marriage, while at the same time having affairs outside of her marital union so as to be able to seek the ideal of a strong male figure in which she could gain no approval from, therefore perpetuating the continued neurosis she was attempting to gain relief from. Horney believed that cultural influences were the main contributing factor for the development of neurosis in adults. However, she also believed that if a child is not raised by parents who can express genuine love toward the child, then the child will not be equipped with the solid foundation to develop the life skill of emotional intelligence. And in all reality, if Horney were to have been able to get beyond her projections of her neurosis, she may have recognized that the development of the life skill emotional intelligence is the difference of one being acted upon or acting on their environment. Furthermore, the Western values that Horney believes perpetuates unhealthy cultural influences is merely a reflection of the neurosis that fuels most of the participants that make up the culture or society in which she, too, is a participant. In conclusion, the preconditioned ideas and belief systems instilled in childhood build a strong and solid foundation for neurosis to develop in adulthood. Therefore, creating a culture that promotes unrealistic ideals and goals for all to strive to achieve, which includes the definition of what is considered to be the ideal healthy psychology of an individual. Within all facets of society, we have fractals upon fractals of relationships that consists of participants that play all the roles needed to reinforce the neurosis that I believe is the norm in regard to the human psychology, rather than the promoted ideal psyche of an individual who reaches the level of self-actualization. Self-actualization is not the norm, for if it were the norm, then we would not be living in a society that is attempting to understand mental illness and neurosis through the lens of an individual or individuals who have admitted to having we would not be living in a society of individuals, I'm sorry guys, oh my god, I hope you're still with me. All right. Self-actualization is not the norm. For if it were the norm, then we would be living in a society we would not be living in a society that is attempting to understand mental illness and neurosis through the lens of an individual or individuals who have admitted to have dealt with neurosis and mental illness throughout their lives and have reached a social status within society by which they have gained a forum to further their ideas as to what constitutes a healthy psychology, which is based on their unrealistic ideas that have been the cause of their struggles with neurosis and mental illness. The aforementioned further deludes society into believing we are making progress in the science of the mind, when in all reality what we have is a society that has been the aforementioned further deludes society into believing we are making progress in the science of the mind, when in all reality what we have is a society that has built a house of cards. Oh my God, was this a tongue twister of a paper or a discussion that I have written? But anyways, I hope that the meaning or the essence of what I'm trying to convey here has come across to you. And with that, I will end this video. Thank you, and make it a great day.